All right, ready to dive in? We're tackling Chapter 8 of the Bhagavad-gītā today.
Ooh, getting into some deep stuff today.
You know it. This chapter always gets me thinking.
It's a big one for sure. So much to unpack about life, death, and the whole meaning of existence, really.
Right. It's like Arjuna hits this point in the Gita where he's just bombarded with these huge questions for Krishna.
Well, he is staring down a battlefield.
Exactly. Talk about an existential crisis.
No kidding. But that's what makes this chapter so powerful, you know? We get to hear Arjuna's burning questions and then Krishna's answers, which are basically the core of Vedic philosophy.
Totally. So where do we even begin? I mean, Arjuna's hitting them with everything from what is Brahman to what about this material world?
Right, and let's not forget what is the self. Arjuna really doesn't hold back.
Not at all. And the way he addresses Krishna right from the start is so interesting. He calls him Purushottama, the supreme person.
He's not looking for a simple answer. He wants the ultimate truth from the ultimate source.
No pressure, Krishna. Just explain the entire universe, why don't you?
Right. But he starts, like any good teacher would, by breaking down some key concepts.
Okay, so walk us through. What's the first thing Krishna tackles?
Well, he begins by explaining that Brahman is indestructible, unchanging. It's the very essence of every living being.
It's like saying there's this spark of the divine within each of us that's beyond the physical stuff, right?
Exactly. And he introduces this term, adatma, which refers to our eternal nature, the self that exists beyond our physical bodies.
So there's this eternal part of us that's actually a fragment of Krishna. That's mind-blowing.
It is. But then there's also Parabrahman, which represents Krishna himself, the source of all those fragments, of all beings.
Okay, so we've got Brahman, the individual soul, and then Parabrahman, which is like the ultimate source of everything.
You got it. Two sides of the same coin, in a way.
Whoa, I'm already feeling my brain stretching. But what about all the things we do in life, our actions? How does that fit into this whole Brahman, Parabrahman picture?
That's where karma comes in. Krishna explains that our actions create these ripples that affect our future, leading us to take on different bodies and continue in this cycle of birth and death, also known as samsara.
It's like our actions have this echo effect that reverberates through our lifetime.
Exactly. And we're bound to that cycle until we achieve liberation moksha.
So it's not about being good or bad. It's more about understanding how our actions create our reality.
And ultimately, how they either bind us to or liberate us from this cycle of samsara.
Which reminds me, this chapter has some really interesting stuff about how to break free from that cycle. There's this one verse, 8.6.
Oh yeah, that one always gets me thinking.
Right. It says that whatever state of being we remember when we die, that's the state we attain. It's like our final thought determines our destiny.
That's a powerful idea. But it's not just about having a sudden thought at the last minute, right?
So it's more than just a deathbed conversion.
Exactly. Our thoughts and actions throughout life create this kind of momentum, and that energy carries us forward.
Okay, so no cramming for the final exam of life. It's about showing up consistently.
You got it. And Krishna illustrates this with the story of King Bharata, who was known for his piety and devotion.
Wow.
But he had this one attachment that ended up shaping his next life, proving that even the most spiritually advanced beings aren't immune to the power of karma.
Whoa. Talk about a cautionary tale. So, if we want to break free, to reach that ultimate liberation, what does Krishna say we need to do? So we've got to pay attention to those everyday thoughts and actions, right? It's not just about one big gesture at the end, but what can we actually do to move towards liberation? What paths does Krishna lay out for us in this chapter?
Well, he talks about a few key practices, and one of the most prominent is chanting. He specifically mentions mantras like Hare Krishna as being super powerful.
It's like having this ongoing dialogue with the divine, isn't it? Not just a one-time prayer.
Totally. And another path he emphasizes is yoga, not just the physical postures, but the whole system of focusing your energy and stilling the mind.
Right. It's about directing your attention inward. And both chanting and yoga, in their own ways, are about connecting with that divine spark within, that Brahman.
Exactly. And that connection is key. But then there's also this whole thing about auspicious times to leave this world, which always throws me for a loop a little bit.
It's intense, right? Like, should I be checking my astrological chart before heading out on a Tuesday?
Well, it can be interpreted in a literal way, sure. But there's also a deeper, more metaphorical layer to it.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So think about it. Krishna talks about things like fire, light, the phases of the moon, the sun's transit. These all relate to natural cycles and forces, right?
I'm still following you.
Well, fire symbolizes transformation, right? And light is often associated with knowledge. And the moon and sun, they govern these vast cycles of time and energy. So leaving your body at an auspicious time could also be understood as being spiritually prepared for that transition. It's about your inner state more than any external factor.
I like that interpretation. It makes a lot of sense, because who's really keeping track of these cosmic calendars anyway?
Right, and Krishna emphasizes this. He says that a true devotee, someone who's truly devoted to him, has nothing to fear, regardless of when or how they die.
Their devotion is their protection. I like that.
Absolutely. But you know what else always gets me in this chapter?
What's that?
Those descriptions of the spiritual realm.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't hold back. It's like, forget gold-plated streets. We've got palaces made of wish-fulfilling gems over here.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And those are just the palaces. He talks about wish-fulfilling trees, cows that grant abundance, and Krishna himself playing his flute surrounded by goddesses of fortune.
Okay, now I'm getting serious FOMO. It's like a cosmic party I definitely want an invite to.
Right. But it begs the question, how do we actually get there? What does it take to experience that level of bliss and liberation?
Yeah, how do we RSVP to this incredible event?
Well, Krishna emphasizes one quality above all else, Ananya Bhakti.
Ananya Bhakti, that's a mouthful. Break it down for me.
It's often translated as unwavering devotion or pure devotion. And the key here is that it's not motivated by personal gain.
It's not about getting into some exclusive cosmic country club.
Exactly. It's about a pure, selfless love for Krishna, for the divine.
Okay, so it's about the quality of the love, the devotion itself, not just the end goal.
Exactly. And Krishna makes it clear he shows special favor to those with this kind of devotion. They're never forgotten by him, always close to his heart. It's like a VIP pass to the spiritual realm.
I like the sound of that. But I'm curious, what about all the good karma we try to rack up in life? You know, the good deeds, the rituals. Does all that just pale in comparison to this pure devotion? So it's not about racking up enough good karma points to get into the cosmic VIP section.
Not exactly. It's more like the devotion itself is the VIP pass.
I like the way you think. But seriously, does Krishna say anything about how all that good karma factors in, you know, all the good deeds and rituals and such?
He does, and this is where it gets really interesting. He actually says that devotion acts as a kind of shortcut.
A shortcut. Tell me more.
It's like by dedicating all your actions to Krishna, all those good deeds you're talking about, you automatically gain the benefits of all the other paths without having to follow each one meticulously.
Whoa. That's like next level efficiency.
Totally. Think of it this way. Imagine you're trying to get to the top of a mountain.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
You could take the long, winding path, carefully following every single twist and turn.
Sounds exhausting.
It can be. That's like trying to reach enlightenment through only karma yoga or only jnana yoga.
Or there's a better way, isn't
They
there?
could hop on a cable car that takes you straight to the summit.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Sign me up for the cable car.
Right. And in this analogy, that cable car is bhakti yoga devotion. It's not that the other paths are wrong. It's just that devotion can really accelerate the journey.
So you're still getting to the top of the mountain, just a lot faster, and with way better views along the way.
Precisely. And I think that's a really important point, because sometimes we can get so caught up in the how-to of spirituality that we forget about the heart of it.
The love, the devotion, the connection. It's easy to lose sight of that in the midst of all the practices and rituals.
Exactly. And Krishna is reminding us of that here. He's saying, look, I get it, you're trying to reach me, and I honor all the paths. But if you truly want to experience the fullness of what I offer, pure devotion is the key.
That's beautiful. And it makes me think about all the different ways Krishna describes the spiritual realm in this chapter. The palaces, the wish-fulfilling trees, those amazing Surabhi cows. He really paints a vivid picture.
He does. It's like he's trying to give us a taste of what's possible, to awaken this longing within us.
It's like, hey, this world is great and all, but just wait till you see what I've got in store for you.
Exactly. And that longing, that yearning for something more, that's the seed of devotion.
It's like the more we focus on that connection, the more it grows.
Exactly. It's not about earning our way in. It's about aligning ourselves with that reality.
And trusting that it's really there.
Yes. Trusting and surrendering.
That makes me think about the part where Krishna talks about Brahmaloka, that highest material planet with unimaginable knowledge and lifespans that make our time here seem like a blink of an eye.
Even the gods long to reach Brahmaloka.
Right. But then he drops this bombshell that even Brahmaloka, as incredible as it is still subject to the cycle of creation and destruction.
It's a powerful reminder that no matter how high we climb in the material realm, it's all temporary.
So even Brahma, the creator of this universe, isn't truly free.
Well, not in the ultimate sense.
So then what does true liberation even mean? If it's not about escaping to some heavenly planet, then what is it about?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think this chapter points us to the answer. It's not just about where we go after death. It's about the state of our being, the quality of our consciousness, right here and now.
So true liberation is more about an inner transformation than an outer destination.
Exactly. And that transformation, that freedom, that's what's available to us through Amanya Bhakti, through pure devotion to Krishna. It's about cultivating that connection, that love in every moment, no matter where we find ourselves.
That's a powerful message. And I think a perfect note to end on. It's been quite a journey exploring Chapter 8 of the Bhagavad-gītā. So much to think about in terms of life, death, and the power of devotion.
Absolutely. It's a chapter that just keeps unfolding the more you dive into it.
Well said. Until next time, keep those good vibes flowing. And remember, that cable car to the top of the mountain, it's always waiting.